Welcome, everybody. We are back, and we have a new sponsor, Chris. I know Daniel's not here tonight. You see the Memphis Grind shirt on. Memphis City, along with Chinook Ceadery, is the new sponsor. And so this episode is brought to you by them, and it's perfect because we got somebody from right in their backyard. We got Kyle Booker here tonight. How you doing?
Good, man. How you guys doing?
Man, we are blessed. Like I said, having somebody that I watch win multiple state championships and right down the street, rock throwing distance, and then getting to watch you on TV. It's a cool opportunity to finally get to interview you. Like I was telling you before the show, you've been ducking me for like 3 years, but it's all good.
Yeah,
Better late than
man.
never.
Man, all these people you're gonna have all these people thinking I actually ducked you. First of all, let's go ahead and get out the way. I did not know how to do interviews until I got to college. So, I had to take my time, learn how to talk to media. And now that I understand how to talk I'm a big boy now, I'm a senior. So now that I know how to talk to the media, we're here.
All
Front
right.
center,
Well,
front center.
well,
He's out
Chris,
there now.
we got to grade this then. I mean, he's claiming that he's pretty good at this, I think. So we'll see.
Grade me. Grade
But
me.
but we're
He
gonna
referred to
start.
he referred to you as media. That's all I know. So you're officially
Well,
media now.
no,
No.
I don't ever want the credentials because then I won't get to do the fun stuff. So
There
leave
you
me
go.
off that list. So with that, man, let's break the ice. MLB playoffs been happening. We're down to the World Series. I don't know if you've been watching, but if you have, who you got winning this thing?
First of all, I want to say if you're a baseball player and you're not watching this playoffs, what are you doing? Because this is electric and it's as close to, college baseball as you can get if we're being honest, like just way more fans. But who am I you ask who am I going for? Who am I
Well, I mean, yeah, who are you going for? And then, who do you got winning? And I will say this because you brought the college baseball thing. I think the Arizona Diamondbacks kind of give that feel, right? Because it's not the team with the highest paid roster and everything. It's a team that got hot at the right time and pushed through, which is what happens in college.
exactly? Yes. And I would say at first my Phillies got knocked.
Hmm.
So I'm a little upset about that.
Yeah.
Crazy environment, by the way. So, but right now I think I'm gonna go for the Rangers.
Sounds like he's a little bitter
Different.
because his
Yeah, I
boys
don't,
got
I
knocked
don't,
out.
I don't really care for either of them. I have some homies on, so I mean, I'm just, hey, whatever. If I just want the Rangers to, they took it. I'm glad Houston Astros are out. So that's it
There
for
you
me.
go. I got you.
Good.
I don't know,
I'm
Chris. I don't know. Were you rooting for the Astros because of Bregman? I mean, that LSU ties.
I mean, we had look. I mean, Nola from the Phillies, obviously. So shout out. He went to my high school. And then Josh Smith, shout out Rangers. He went to LSU and he went to my high school. So couldn't really lose. But I'll go with the Rangers just because of the Josh Smith connection. We had Bregman. So yeah, we'll go. I lived in Dallas for 6 years, so we'll go Rangers. So I'm right there with Kyle. We'll just go Rangers. Why not?
All right. So, Kyle, say you had your own show, and it don't got to be sports. You had your own late night talk show. Who would be your first guest? Who's the must have on the show?
so it can be anybody dead or alive.
Anybody.
Just one person.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you want to bring multiple. Go ahead. Who's your show?
I'd want to knock out three at the same time if I'm being honest.
Ooh,
And
okay.
yeah, I want to get down to it. First would be Michael Jackson. I
Okay.
want to get Michael
Okay.
Jackson for musicians. Second would be Mike Tyson. The dude's just an animal. Like I gotta know what he's thinking at all times.
Good or bad?
Um, third would probably be I want to say LeBron James. Definitely.
Imagine, Chris, all those in their prime. You got them on show. Kyle would have the most watched television show in history.
I'm just trying to picture all three of those guys sitting like on a couch next to each other. That would be some trippy stuff because you don't know what. Just imagine Tyson in the middle of those other two with LeBron and Michael Jackson as bookends. You don't know you don't know what Tyson's going to do anyway. And
No.
then
I'm here for it, though. I'm here for it.
I'd watch you talk to those dudes in a heartbeat. That'd be appointment viewing right there.
Yeah.
All right. So don't lie to me on this next one, Kyle. Everybody had that celebrity crush growing up. Who was yours?
Mm, celebrity crush. See, I don't even remember mine from back then. Like for real, I don't really got one right now. I'm gonna say I was watching Disney Channel and stuff, so it's probably like It was probably Zendaya or something like that.
That's what a lot of the answers are. So you're fitting right in. I mean, that's
Yeah,
what we expect. A lot of times we'll get some girls we ain't never heard of, and then I like when somebody will drop something like this our age, and I'm like, yeah, I'm like that's still my crush. My wife, I'm married, she know. But this is the biggest one, and being you just gave us your guest list, it may be one of them. Being an athlete, got to know who's your favorite athlete all time.
favorite athlete of all time is definitely LeBron James.
That's
1,000.
Yeah.
that's what I figured. If you had him as the guest, that was a
Yeah.
pretty good assumption.
That's what Peyton Holtz from Arkansas said last time Jim and I did a pod together, and he invited me on. He said LeBron too.
Him and Kobe are the most common answer across the board. And you got to remember, none of these guys are our age, so Jordan is not a common answer.
No, correct. Yeah, I mean LeBron makes sense. I mean, I love watching LeBron when he first got in the league. So yeah, it's crazy to think now that he's. I was watching him against Phoenix the other night, and just to think LeBron's 40. That's crazy to me because I remember when dude was 18, came in the league and stuff. That's nuts.
Well, the fact that you brought up Phoenix and his last name's Booker, I actually was talking to Drew Bianco at the Ole Miss scrimmage yesterday. You know, he's helping his dad coach, and he's a huge LeBron guy and huge NBA guy. And I was talking about the Phoenix game against the Warriors to open the season, Kyle, and how he was very LeBron-like because the final 3 plays of the game, they double teamed him, and he found a wide open look for his teammates. And that's what the best players do. It's not about if they make the big shot at the end. It's about making the right play. And so D Book basically said, if you're going to double on me, I'm going to find the right guy. And that's something LeBron has, emulated for how many years now. And so it's about making it's basketball IQ, right? We know Booker can do what he can do, but if you can get a teammate a wide open look, that's what you do.
Absolutely. And people, I remember, I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was the 2020 NBA championship, maybe when Danny Green missed that shot at the top of the key.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was like, Michael Jordan would have shot that. And he was like triple teamed down the hash.
And Danny Green's been a knockdown shooter in big time situations on top of that.
Exactly. So, I mean, he found the open guy. I mean, they were trying to compare it to Michael Jordan and Kobe, how they would have never passed. However, Michael Jordan passed to Steve Kerr to win that game. So, I mean, hey, it is what it is.
Exactly. So that's the icebreaker portion. We're going to get into your story. I obviously know where you're from, but for those listening, man, where are you from?
From South Haven, Mississippi. Was born in Memphis, Tennessee. Moved to South Haven, Mississippi for baseball specifically, in my opinion. I don't know what my parents will say, but DeSoto Central was a powerhouse when I was growing up, so that's where we play ball.
Yeah, one of these days, and I've told Chris this, I'm going to do a per capita breakdown for North Mississippi, because not just DC, but, basically if you go from Central Mississippi up, and I bet nationwide more baseball talent comes from the north half of Mississippi than the entire country when you break it down per capita. Whether it's DC, Lewisburg, Oxford, whatever, like you go Hernando, you go through all of them, just putting out cats. Obviously, DC being at the top of them, but we'll get into DC in just a second because we got to talk family, man. You come from a family where, baseball was bred into you, man. Talk to me about, who all's in your family. And then after that, man, talk to me about your dad.
Yeah. So my mom, of course, shout out to her, Candace, love her to death. She used to dance. She danced for the Queen, matter of fact, when she was growing up as well. Yes. And sister, Kendall Booker, used to be an athlete, still is built like one, but she's one of the smartest girls I know. Shout out to her too. She just got accepted. She's accepted in every school by what I know, but she wants to go to Alabama. So we'll see where
Alabama hate week for me and Chris at that.
Hey, if they're going to pay her to go, let her go. I'm sure that's what your mom and dad say. If they're going to give her some money, you can go ahead and go to Alabama.
If it's free, they'll let her. Yeah, they'll let her go. And her boyfriend is maybe committing to Tennessee. So
that's interesting dynamic.
Don't make the mistake that your boy Simo made with that post. I know you know what I'm talking about. Don't show up in the opposing team stadium wearing their jersey just to support your girlfriend, because Simo, he did the right thing, man. He was trying to do right by his girl, but man, the Tennessee fan base did not like that.
And the folks don't care. They don't care. They don't care, man. If it's not bright orange with a T on it, they don't care.
But anyway, I cut you off. Talk to me about the rest of the family.
Yeah, so my sister Kendall, of course, and then last is Senior Book, is what I like to call him, Kevin Booker. My dad, one of my biggest idols. Love that guy to death, and definitely the reason I play baseball today.
So, growing up with a dad that, stand out at Central Arkansas, obviously had a pro career, I know they call him Coach Book, obviously, is he putting, hard expectations on you, or are you blessed to have someone like that that's, teaching you the game, especially at such an early age?
I'm glad you asked that question because at a young age, I always thought he was he was kind of putting pressure on me at a young age, very young age, until I finally, I believe it took, shout out to Coach Marcus, back when I was younger, 12U. He was harder on me than my father was. And, I'd go to my dad crying, be like, he hates me, whatever. And, he finally broke it down. I finally got to the age where I went back to Coach Marcus and actually thanked him for how hard he pushed me. So I kind of think that I was just too young to understand. He was definitely a hard coach, of course. But once I grasped the aspect that he was trying to, just get me better and prepare me for somebody that's not my father, to be my coach. And once I finally understood that, then,
Yeah, and based upon every conversation I've ever had with him, based upon the character I've seen of you, based upon the way everybody's talked about you, clearly there's, no, it's a great relationship. There's no resentment. You don't kind of have an issue with baseball. That's usually what you'll see with a parent who pushed too hard, right? Like you almost see that resentfulness to even play. And, I was even talking about that with Brady Tigert's girlfriend the other day. She was like, is Brady good at baseball? And I was like, yeah. And she said, well, his dad, it's the way he talks to him. And I said, he keeps him grounded and humbled. I said, their relationship's good. He never builds them up, and he never builds them up too much, never tears them down too much, but it keeps them level. So it's important to have your dad, man, foundation, especially somebody who knows baseball. But, let's get into the high school, man. Where did you go to high school at?
DeSoto Central High School, of course.
That's right, man. Chris, I could throw a rock from here to there right now. Fun story for you guys. It's not even a story. I just got to go. I bought this house a year and a half ago from Coach Monaghan. I live in his old house. Yeah.
Where's he at now? Matter of fact,
he moved. He's coaching Oxford.
He's in Oxford, right? Right.
He bailed, man. Got all these rings and just rolled out. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't planned. I'll tell you this, because when he sold me this house, he just built a house right down the street in Robinson Crossing. So you obviously knew that job wasn't something that was planned if he just built a house. So opportunity came, and maybe he wanted to change. If I understand it, I don't know his story, but I think he might be from there, and that might be the reason
Yes. I remember my mom telling me one day when I got back home that he left, and I'm pretty sure he's from there, graduated something. I can't remember.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody always wants to go back home and coach if they get the opportunity. Especially, he's done what he needed to do here, right? I mean, he's won enough rings, and if we're gonna get into it, man. If it weren't for COVID, he'd have had one more. But right. Since we brought up DeSoto Central, Kyle, I got to do a quick plug. Shout out to the DeSoto Central High School women's soccer team. My daughter's on it. The girls had a party Friday night. They did me a solid with our new sponsor. They all wore 4 different shirts and hats from Memphis City. And so put it out there on social media, and I told them I'd do them a plug. Their first home game is Thursday, November 9th against New Albany. So if you're listening, you're in the DC area, especially because you're listening because Kyle Booker, DC legend, is on. Get out to the soccer field, support my daughter and all her friends. Anne-Marie Barton, Ruby Beth Barton, and Emily Bollinger were the girls who did it, and I told them I'd shout them out, and of course Taylor Robinson. But back to the Diamond, man. You go to DC where it is an absolute powerhouse, and I got to ask you this question right off the bat. I don't know if you heard about this. We asked it for like a whole year straight to about 10 different dudes, because we had guys from 2015 DC.
I know exactly what you're
saying. Yeah, 2019 DC. We still have not settled this debate. Who's winning on in the prime on the DC's field, 2015 or 2019?
All right, everybody needs to sit back and look at it from where we are now, or not where we are now, but where we were in that time when we were playing, how deep our team was compared to that 2015 team. I mean, that class was it 2019, right?
Yeah, I mean,
2019?
y'all won an 18. Now you can go with either of them, but for the most part, it was the same dudes. And if you look at the success of the guys that you're talking about, obviously they were top heavy, right? You say Austin Riley and you say Keegan James and Dallas Woolfolk, but to your point, you go down the whole roster, and I like Greg James' view on it because he has a kid on each team, right? Between Cameron and James, he broke it down with analytics, and Chris is an analytics guy, so I love this. He broke down all the stats, Chris, and he said, "Hey, man, I don't love one kid more than the other, but 2019 by the stats would beat 2015." And so that's what I'm going to go with at the
There
end
you
of the
go.
day. But they were both so good, Chris. Like, it's just a fun argument to have. What I like is Kyle didn't answer like snap quick. Every 2019 guy quick to say, "Oh, we rolled 2015." But while you were there, man, perfect game, number 7 ranked player in Mississippi, number 38 ranked outfielder in the nation. Obviously helped lead them to a pair of state titles as a sophomore and junior. Had a career batting average of 380, 453 on base percentage. Hit a career best 427 as a sophomore with 44 hits and 24 RBIs. Before we get to those 2 seasons, it's the comment that I just made. One of the other bragging rights is the guys always like to say that they have 2 rings. Well, you and Blaze and Cade Smith could have been guys who would have had bragging rights that they had 3 rings. If it wasn't for COVID, I mean, it was locked, right?
No, we were what, 14-1 when COVID happened? We were like 15-1 or something like that. It was something stupid. So I mean,
Chris, they were going to run off 3 in a row, man. They had already won 2 in a row. They were stacked again. Like, COVID saved a lot of teams from just getting wrecked. So, I watched you during both title runs. Just talk about how much of a blessing it is. Obviously, your talent, but to be on a stacked team like that, to have, DeSoto Central has a very nice facility, very nice field, to have great fans. Just talk about that experience, being able to be a part of a team like that, and just this area where, like you said, you moved here because this area is, baseball, like, royalty.
yeah, definitely. I mean, it was definitely a crazy experience. Met a lot of guys, made a lot of lifelong friendships, relationships that, I mean, I feel like is the most important. Screw the ring and all that. Those relationships that you make with, the guys you're along with I mean, it's just insane. So, I mean, I mean, I still can't even, say how much it means to me and how much those guys mean to me. So, I mean, from the coaching staff to the teammates, managers, I mean, I still talk to all of them. So, I mean, it's a blessing for sure.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I used to tell people it's the best $6 in town you could spend to go watch all these future college and pro players on this diamond. You couldn't beat it. So, talking about a lot of those guys, let me ask you a question. I've got to know, like, let's start with Blaze Jordan, the obvious one, right? What was it like watching did you know, like, obviously you've seen that he made the AA All-Star team this year. Like, you obviously knew the trajectory, but man, just how cool was it watching him and play and just, I mean, hit 500 football. I felt bad. I remember one game, Kyle, you'll remember this game too. Y'all were up like 16-0. Like, they should have called the game against Horn Lake, and they bring in a pitcher to face Blaze with bases loaded. And I'm watching this kid warm up, and I'm like, oh my God, like, no, like, don't do this. And sure enough, man, he's laid that thing out there over like BP, and that man hit it on the roof of the school. And I was like, why they do that kid? Like, they just demoralized this team anymore. Y'all was up like 20-0, and y'all still kept playing. I mean, watching Blaze, how cool was that?
I mean, the kid is absolutely unbelievable. Especially since, I mean, high school wasn't, I mean, I played with him since I was like 6 or 7. So, I mean, I saw the dude from when we were both really, really young into, what he is today. So, I mean, it's awesome to see, how much he's grown. And I mean, I still remember his BP from when we were 15 years old. Like, he was his first round would be home runs oppo, and then his second round would be, home runs dead center, and then the last would be home runs to all parts of the field. It was stupid. So I mean, the guy's got a gift. He's always been able to hit. So I mean, it's awesome to see him.
Yeah, and what's cool about this, Chris, is like Kyle, like, just hit in there, right? Like you have a top, soon to be SEC talent, and you don't like because he's got Cam and Blaze and all them behind him. Like Kyle's just kind of hiding there, right? Like he gets on base and then scores. He makes the plays in the outfield, but everybody's talking about these other cats, and little do you know, man, you got an absolute stud there, just going about his business every single day. That's the team. It was just so much fun. I had so much fun watching. I miss those teams, to be honest. I miss Dylan Hale. I was talking to Bianco about. Do you remember when Dylan Hale robbed Oxford to win y'all the game? He got his arm up over the wall.
I
Even
remember
Bianco remembered that. It was, and I was like, yeah, that kid. I told him, I was like, that kid ain't even playing ball no more. He was like, seriously? I was like, so that's fun. Hell, you play with Compton, right? Jay with Compton?
Yeah, Compton. He's at Memphis right now, right?
Yeah, yesterday against Ole Miss against Grayson Saunier, he absolutely hit a no doubter oppo. Like, yeah, that kid's got power. So, Memphis is doing a good job of getting those guys from Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Obviously Compton came from South Carolina, but a lot of those guys who weren't getting a lot of run. And so now, I mean, they're stacked with more talent than Memphis has probably ever seen. But obviously, this is about you. So let's talk about the recruiting process for you. I mean, obviously, with your talent, your ranking, when did you start getting calls from coaches, and what were the top schools that you were looking at?
I started getting calls, I think, around freshman year of high school. I committed sophomore year, so it didn't really take me that long. But I started getting calls and did visits my freshman year. My first call, I believe, was to Louisville.
Mhm.
I can't remember exactly, but I think that was my first call. And then also took a visit at Mississippi State as well.
And I heard a rumor from a very close person to you that Mississippi State was a close second for you.
Oh my! It was actually a lot of people aren't gonna like this, but it was actually my first until I met TV. But
Vitello had that effect, won't he?
man, that first of all, I love that dude to death. He's one of the coolest guys you could ever meet. Very passionate guy, but we'll definitely talk about him later, I'm pretty sure. So but yeah, so took a visit to Mississippi State. I really didn't have that many colleges. It was Tennessee, Mississippi State, and what is it, Louisville?
He's a little, but I mean, we're talking about three major programs. So I mean, you don't really got to have quantity if you got quality, right? Like, I mean, you were gonna, if you went to any of those three schools, you were gonna be, especially if you look over just the last few years, you're gonna have a top 10 ranked team to play for. So great choices. So you mentioned Tony V. I'm gonna let you answer this, and then Chris will get into all things college. But it's obviously got to be more than just talking to Tony V. Tell me ultimately why Tennessee was the destination for you.
I want to say that it's a really welcoming and like a really homey feel to Knoxville. It's like when you step foot there, you're like, oh, I could. You look around, you're like, oh, I can live here, definitely. And that's kind of the feel that you have. And then, I mean, you could tell the coaching staff was young. Their players, coaches, like you make one-on-one relationships. It's not like the guys go sit in their office all day and they're like bossing you around, telling you you can't come in here. You got to go do this, go do that. So I mean, it's you get close with the coaching staff. You're close with. It's like one big family. So I mean, it's awesome.
That's interesting because I'm sure playing at Tennessee that it felt like y'all played the everybody loved to hate y'all, right? And I think a lot of that hate or dislike was directed towards y'all's coach. But obviously, you committed to him for a reason. You seem like you still have a great relationship with him now. I guess we'll get into that in a second. But did y'all? This is kind of off topic here, but did y'all feel that? Did y'all know that while you were at Tennessee, that a lot of people just didn't like y'all for whatever reason? I see you shaking your head. For those that can't see him, he's shaking his head right now. Why don't you just kind of expand on that a little bit, Kyle? Just kind of just what I talked about.
Yeah, no, we embraced it, honestly. I mean, we kind of use it as an advantage, knowing. I mean, I feel like people have a problem nowadays where they actually care. They're like, oh well, we hope people like us, or we already knew people didn't like us, so we didn't have anything to worry about. So we go out there, whip you around, and then go back home while everybody's booing, throwing stuff at us. Like, we embrace it, fun, and that's how we play. We were loose, and it was way more fun that way, playing how you want, playing, doing what you want, saying what you want, and being, exactly how you act in the locker room is how you acted on the field with the guys. Like, you were having fun, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was so much fun, so much fun. So I mean, I feel like that's where people really didn't like us. We were having too much fun. They were like, why are they, holding their face at second base after they hit a double? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
The baby John.
yeah.
No, I mean, hearing that, I got a son roughly your age, and just to allow y'all to be free. Baseball's hard enough as it is, and it can be a boring game and tough to watch, but in college it's supposed to be fun, right? And just for a coaching staff to allow y'all to be free, to be who you are, and not stifle y'all. And y'all had some veteran leaders when you got there, obviously, but that's kind of refreshing to hear. But let's get into Tennessee career before we move on to your choice to transfer over to Oral Roberts. But 2021 freshman year, you played in 27 games, made 12 starts as a true freshman. You hit 310 with 5 doubles, 1 bomb, 10 RBIs. And obviously that team had a lot of vets on it. And heading into that season, was there any talk between you and Coach Vitello about playing time, or what were your expectations rolling into that year? Obviously, you kind of, you made a splash. You had a really good start. You hit well, so I'm sure in your mind, you're like, man, I had a really good freshman year. It's off to a good start in the SEC. But, heading into that year, do you have any expectations, or did your stats at the end of the year kind of meet where you wanted to be?
No, I mean, now looking back at it, it's definitely like, hey, you had a really good freshman year now at this age. But I mean, yeah, no, I can't remember or recall, me talking to Vitello and we were like, hey, you have a chance to start or anything. I can't remember, but it wasn't likely. I don't remember him saying anything of that sort. But we also have to keep in mind that was that 2020, that COVID year. So
yeah, right.
they already had their guys, and that's when Crochet got drafted. Shout out to Croche. Zach Daniels, ZD, Alaric Solari, they had dudes, and I mean, it was definitely it's always been tough.
Yeah, you had Pavoloni come on here and say that he thinks that it's easy to say, but he said he felt like that 2020 team had a real shot at going to Omaha, and it never got to play out.
Yes, they definitely did. Watching, definitely you could tell, especially from, obviously I wasn't there, but the relationships that those guys have when you see them together, you're like, oh, that group right there, there's something, a bond that went on. So, but yeah, no, freshman year, I really didn't think I was gonna start just because of that 2020, COVID, how that went. But I did learn fast that I'm going to need to learn fast, and
yeah.
And I'll have a role. And they kept beating it into my head. Our leaders that we had, Max Ferguson, shout out to him, Liam Spence, Evan Russell. I literally want to call him my mentor at that age while I was there. But yeah, no, those guys, they drilled it in my head that I was gonna, have something to do with the season.
Evan Russell's the go to this podcast, Chris. If you didn't know, he is now a 5-time guest of this show.
Dang, look at that guy. Just if you need a guest, chalk him up. But Kyle, getting back to that 2021 season, y'all make it to Omaha, and like you said, you got to grow up fast, especially in the SEC, and you're playing. So it's almost like each step is a different, right? Not preseason, but non-conference is a step up, getting used to the speed of the game. Then you move into conference. But was there like an expectation? You said there's a lot of experience coming back from the COVID year, but was there an expectation kind of when y'all got to the season in 2021 that y'all would make it to Omaha, or was there like halfway through the season y'all like, you know what, we could get there, fellas. We got a shot. You know, how'd that kind of play out for y'all that year?
See, that's what I didn't understand when I did go into, Tennessee. First of all, I wasn't there usually guys now they go over during the summer and they get a feel of I had no idea what I was getting into. So I rolled straight I rolled straight into it blind, I would say. And I mean, I was just getting I was a mental midget. Like it was bad. It was ugly.
Really?
Fall was very, very I think I had like 9 errors on fly balls in the fall or something.
Really?
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. I thought I forgot how to play baseball for a second. But yeah, I didn't understand how I didn't understand college baseball at all. Like not one bit of it. I didn't know that those guys were that good. First of all, I didn't know that we had a shot to go, to Omaha. I remember when we were ranked, I was like, oh my gosh, our team is ranked. Little did I know it would end up being like 4th or 5th up there. Like we were just kept going up. And then, so, I mean, I had to learn fast. So definitely.
That's refreshing to hear. So anybody, high school kid, parent, y'all need to rewind what Kyle just said and listen to it again. Stud in high school, perfect game, all that stuff. Gets a chance to play as a freshman. But for him to say, these guys are really good, even above what you thought going into Tennessee, and saying, he's shaking his head. He's saying, I needed to step it up. And mentally, I think that's the biggest thing. Physically, once you catch the speed of the game, now with the pitchers y'all face, that's a different story now. It's unbelievable. But mentally, it seems like that's the biggest step up probably from high school where you're dominating everybody, right? You're the best, one of the best kids in the state of Mississippi. But it definitely seems like mentally was where the challenge was, So
no, definitely. Yeah. I do want to say that the high school guys now, like most of them, oh crap. Somebody called me. All right. Am I good?
I'll edit it out.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing I did want to say on the mental stuff is that to the high school guys now, especially oh my gosh, you're gonna have to edit it out again.
All good is what I do.
Yeah, you're good on our end.
I'm about to turn my phone off. Jeez. I'm gonna have to repeat myself like 4 or 5 times on this thing, huh? Here we go. All right. Yeah, one thing I do want to say to all the high school guys or any parents that have, people or children in high school watching. At this, I want to say now the high school guys now are all big and strong enough. Like we see all the high school guys up now, like they're all, 6'3" and they're huge and, they're whether they believe it or not, obviously you need to get stronger and faster, of course, but I'm telling you, the mental aspect of the game is going to have an effect way more than the physical side by far. I'm not the biggest guy by all means. I'm not even close to the biggest guy. And I mean, it's really all about, how strong you are mentally. It's going to take you the furthest in this game as far as, you want to go. So
would you say, Chris, before you go to the next one, you see a lot of these guys, and Chris, who were we on the last episode with together?
Peyton Holt from Arkansas.
Yeah, Peyton Holt said
he got cut at ULL.
But he also said, Kyle, because it blew Chris's mind. He knew that he wasn't ready, and so he decided to go JUCO to better himself physically and mentally. And so that's why you start seeing a lot of these guys, maybe going to a JUCO route, and some people are like, oh, he's going to JUCO, and automatically dismiss. And you look how many guys, like you were mentioning guys like a Liam Spence earlier, right? He went JUCO and then now he's playing professional ball. Like sometimes you have to go that route to get, like you said, to get yourself right. If you just go into a situation you're not ready for, then you're going to end up going backwards, and that's not what you want. You'd rather take stepping stones and go forwards.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a great segue, Jim, to 2022. So Drew Gilbert gets hurt at the Shriners Classic, and then you, Jim had to clue me in on this. You get drilled in the hand. I guess Jim had a video, but maybe he posted it in real time while he was there. So just talk about that injury. Obviously, that I'm sure maybe if people don't know about the injury, maybe where you got hit and just kind of how that affected your 2022 season. And maybe even talk about it mentally too, since you just kind of set that up for us.
Definitely. Yeah, so that 2022 season was definitely supposed to be one of the biggest seasons of that I missed out on, of course, and that was probably one of the maybe the best team in college baseball that I've experienced. That team was absolutely
I'll
insane.
say it's the best regular season team I've ever seen.
Absolutely, it's definitely one of them. And yeah, so going into that year, all those guys that were I said were my mentors, my freshman year were saying, "Hey, it's your time, it's your time to go do this, do that." And I want to say I think I put a lot of pressure on myself that wasn't even needed because, I had eligibility left and there was nothing to pressure myself on. But yeah, so starting out of the season, I wasn't hitting well, or as well as I wanted to, at least. And it kind of got into my head a bit. So we go down to Texas, play, and I'm just obviously you're just waiting for a shot to get back in because so uh Gilbert gets hurt. I think he hurt his hamstring I can't remember
Yeah, he
exactly.
did in the outfield.
Hurt his hamstring, and the way he is, he looks at you and says, "Yo, get ready or get loose." He just says, "Get loose," and you gotta either you're going in or you're not, one or the other. So you start getting ready, and um, he actually just tells me get a bat. So I go get my bat. I'm like, okay, when am I hitting? And I look up, and they're like, hey, Gilbert was hitting next. He was just limping in. I'm like, okay, well, let me go ahead. So go up the bat, 3-2 count, lefty throwing like 90. He's throwing straight sinkers. And as a lefty, and you're facing a lefty, if you bail out on 90, going at you, like there's nothing you can do. Like it's 3-2. Either he's gonna throw, low and away slider and you're gonna whiff on it, or you're gonna stay on it and do something with it. So 3-2. I get a fastball in on my hands, and I'm thinking it's just a ball, so I'll take my walk. And it just absolutely, like, I kind of flint or go for it a little bit because it's 3-2. I don't know, and then I finally see it's a ball. I stop, and I mean, it just hits me weird. Like, I mean, I'm holding the bat like this, and it hits me on my top thumb
Top
right there.
thumb. Top thumb.
Yeah, yeah. So it broke that thumb, and I don't know. It was one of the weirdest injuries I've had. I wasn't able to swing it bad. I wasn't able to do a lot of stuff. Like I couldn't even do my hair in the morning.
He's talking
And
about it calmly, Chris, but I recorded it because I was excited, man. I'm
Yeah.
interested, and he's stepping to the plate, and so I had that video, and he was pissed. He got
oh
hit
my
in the
gosh,
thumb.
That's
and
weird. That's weird for you to get hit on your top thumb. That thing was riding in hard on you. Obviously, you stayed in because if you would have bailed, it hit you in your back, or I guess it could hit you in your chest if you start to swing.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what. So I mean, it's not too much you can do with an inside
Right.
sinker from a lefty, especially coming from that angle.
Yeah.
And obviously, the position I'm in, I'm like either it's on base or you're sitting down for another 15 games. So one or the
Yeah.
other. So
Right.
he hits me in my finger, and I'm like, okay, I'm fine. I'm going down to first, and I mean, I'm drenching sweat like out of nowhere. I just start drenching. I'm like, I wasn't even that. It's not even that hot. It's nighttime. What do we? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Roof was closed
back out.
too.
The roof was closed, he said.
Yeah, the roof was closed. So I mean, it's not even hot. So I go out on the field, and yeah, I'm just out there like I'm shaking. I'm shaking out of nowhere,
Hmm.
and I'm fine. Like I'm like, dude, I'm ready to play. I'm shaking and I'm drenching sweat. So I go back in. I look down at my thumb again, and it's just bright blue. Like I'm just like, what is
Whoa.
going? Yeah, it's like a bright color. I'm like, okay. So I show our trainer Woody, and he's like, yeah, you're done, boss. So yeah, he's like, you're
Man.
done. So we get back home, and they tell me that I'm gonna have to wear like a splint or like a cast for I think it was 2 months, or maybe it was a month and a half. I can't remember.
Wow,
It
that's
was,
a long time. No surgery there, no pins or anything like that.
they told me if I didn't wear a cast, and I was risking getting a pin in my thumb.
You were still wearing it in Oxford when y'all played them, and that was at least a month down the road.
Correct.
Jeez.
So I was Shout out to V for taking me, by the way, because he definitely didn't have to take me, but he did.
In today's day and age of cutthroat transfer portal, he stuck with you. That's
Yeah.
tip of the cap to him. So yeah, I can imagine how mentally frustrating that would have been. So obviously you came back in the summer then, right? You were good to go for summer ball 2022, or I guess 20. Yeah. So we roll into 2023. Some of those veterans had left. You kind of, have a chance to be the guy back there again. Obviously big expectations. I'm sure you're ready for that to finally happen for you in Knoxville. But, may not have gone obviously the way you had planned. Maybe just talk us through that, because obviously I was looking up some of your stats. So in 2023, 12 games started, hit 236 with 3 doubles, a bomb, a couple stolen bases, and 55 at bats. You went 3 for 5. I think you had 3 knocks against LSU.
Yeah, with the game we were at together, he had 3 hits.
I didn't go to that last game. You
didn't go to that one? Oh, you bailed on Kyle, bro.
No, I said Sunday. It was that rubber match. He's good. It was that Sunday.
Y'all beat LSU 14-7. So, but yeah, just maybe talk us about last season and just kind of how it ended up. Obviously, y'all ended up back in Omaha again. So you've been to Omaha twice. You've had those experiences, and you know what that's like, the pressure, having to perform and the expectations. But maybe just go over 2023 with us and just kind of how, when you finish the season, what was going through your head,
Yeah, no, definitely. I'll do a shortened version of it because it's really not, it's not too much to it. But basically, it was just a head case season. Like you got to. It was everything was you got to do this. You have to do this if you want to get drafted, because that's the goal. At the end of the day, that was my goal, and just a head case. I was, if anything didn't go my way, then it was, okay, well, if you got to do this or you're not going to get drafted. Like it was, I was putting pressure on myself. And
so, so let me cut you, Kyle, because I remember looking at the top 100 players. I want to say you were in the 50s. Like, so did that add pressure seeing yourself that high on the board?
I'm so dumb enough that I actually looked at it and I was like, oh,
yeah. I think it's called being human. I don't know if it's called being.
Yeah, I guess it's a part of. Yeah, so I looked at it. I'm like, okay, well, if that's what they say, I'm better than that though. So
right.
But I really didn't have anything to prove. I don't know why. I thought I did, but yeah, it was just a head case season. I'd go back home after a game and everybody. I saw Trey hit or not Trey, but I saw Denton hit for the cycle, and I'm like, bro, like, what do we like? There's got to be something wrong with me. Like, why am I not hitting? These amateur guys like throwing 80 midweeks, and V he was giving me, a crazy amount of opportunities, like way too many. So it's nothing to do with Tennessee. It was all 100% my fault. So I just put, and I hate the word pressure as well, because that's not pressure. That's not real pressure. Pressure is.
Thank you for that.
Pressure is a mom trying to feed her kids that by herself. Like, that's pressure. This isn't pressure at all. This is a game. It's a sport. Yeah, so you don't need to. It's fun. Like, have fun, and I promise you, whatever you want to happen, if you put in work behind closed doors and go out and have fun, you will perform. And I'm learning it as we speak. And that's why I'm so happy now. That's why I'm having fun. And I'm upset that it took me, I won't say I'm upset, but I'm happy that it took me as long as it did to learn that, to not, put pressure on yourself.
Right. No, that's amazing. It's just funny to hear you say that. My old coach, one of maybe the best baseball coach ever in college baseball, Skip Bertman, he used to say fear, F-E-A-R, it was false evidence appearing real, which goes back to your pressure thing. And he would give examples like that, like pressure is raising kids, pressure is trying to pay the electricity bill, pressure is going to a job interview knowing you have to nail it because you need a job. So like I pitched, right? So if I went 2 innings and gave up 4 runs, like that's bad. But in the grand scheme of things, your girlfriend, your mom, your dad, whoever it is, they're still going to love you when you walk out that clubhouse. So in the end, that's just really doesn't matter. And if you can get to that point to where you can play, which is hard, right? It almost got you, but I'm really glad to hear you say that. And I just kind of wanted to really piggyback off that. So I'm getting ready to throw it back to Jim, but the transfer situation. Okay. So Be honest now. Did you know of Oral Roberts before you got to the College World Series this year?
I love where they went around asking all the players from different teams if they knew where Oral Roberts was located, and about 90% of them didn't know. Even our LSU boy Joe Bear was like, yeah, Texas.
Yeah, so I guess that's a no. Then maybe you can tell me if you knew of them, and then ultimately, obviously, what just kind of what led to your decision, and why did you choose Oral Roberts? And I'll just kind of let you go from there, and then I'll hand it back over to Jim.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, I had no idea what or where Oral Roberts were.
He said what?
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't even know. I had no idea. I just saw their shirts when we went down there, and I'm like, oh, that's a cool Eagle shirt that they have. It's a golden eagle. So hey, I mean, I had no idea. But what led up to it, I mean, me and V talked about it, and I mean, it's kind of I don't want to.
No, you don't have to get. It's just maybe a change of scenery, right? Just maybe.
Yeah, like I mean,
I
mean, yeah, no, it was just a suggestion that maybe
Yeah.
change of scenery. Maybe I put too much, pressure on myself. Yeah, he was just like, you need to go somewhere where you can play,
Right.
where you can get a guaranteed however many at bats, and you don't have to worry about sitting down or any of this other.
I think that speaks to his character some more, right? Because he wants the best for you, and so he wants to give you an opportunity to shine. And maybe like Chris was just saying, it is that change of scenery. But I like that he sat that down, and he did it in a way. It sounds like that it didn't tear you down in any way. It sounded like he wished the best for you, because not going to name any names, but Chris knows we just had a guest recently who, upon his departure, he got completely ripped and torn down in a way that you shouldn't. And luckily, this guest was able to get the last laugh on the coach that told him he wasn't good enough. So I'm glad that V continues to show his character, because if there's anything I know, and I was trying not to cut you and Chris, every guest that we've ever had from Tennessee, people can feel the way they want. They say he texts, he calls, he's always checking in on you. When every game I went to, what I love is he's just walking around talking to the guys. Like, I mean, he's friend, mentor, dad, coach, everything else in between. I love that guy.
No, I mean, he's an awesome guy, very passionate, definitely somebody you want to play for, not play against, 1,000%. And yeah, man, I mean, it's like the whole coaching staff at that school just bleeds into each other, and they're kind of like, obviously, you're gonna bump heads, that's how it is, but I mean, yeah, no, they're awesome.
Did anybody besides Oral Roberts come calling that made you stop and think for a second, or kind of once you heard from them, talked it over with their staff? Like, I don't know how that if you took more visits, or how that went.
Yeah, not meaning to cut you off, but yeah. So
you're good.
actually, I visited South Alabama. I actually found out that I couldn't go to another SEC school from LSU. I had no idea.
Oh.
Yeah, so LSU told me that, hey, bud, we'd love you here, but you entered the portal too late, so we can't get you. Because that was I wanted to come back home. Like, I was gonna be like, yo, I'm gonna try to go to like Ole Miss or Mississippi State, and my parents can watch me play.
Either of those teams could have really used you last year for just shooting it straight. They both did not do well.
Yeah, so I mean, that's what my plan was, and then I figured out that I couldn't go back to another SEC school. So I mean, the list of schools that I wanted to go to shortened by a lot.
Right.
Then it was just, it got to the point where, okay, who's giving me offers that are reasonable, and so the 3 reasonable offers that I got, or 4, one was from Troy. The second was from South Alabama. I got one from Memphis, and then I got one from Oral Roberts, and I narrowed it down to, actually, also Kansas State as well was another one, and then I narrowed it down to Oral Roberts in South Alabama, and then yeah, me and my dad, we took the trip up here, and I mean, it's an awesome spot to be at. You can tell, like, all the coaching staff has been here for 15 years, like
Yeah.
all those guys. So I mean, I just knew when I got here that it's definitely somewhere where I want to be.
Was part of the reason maybe Memphis wasn't a consideration was because Kerry Jackson was leaving? Did that have anything to do with it out of curiosity?
Um,
Because there's definitely you don't want to
kinda,
go into a situation that's got a coaching change.
yeah, no, I was definitely skeptical about it for sure. And he also had a close relationship with V, so I'm pretty sure they clashed heads or they did what they did. So I mean, but yeah, so that had something to do with it. But yeah, no, I went to Oral Roberts and I found out. I mean, that's the spot where I wanted to be at.
So for those listening who still don't know where Oral Roberts is, Kyle, tell them.
Yeah, it's in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
When
Tulsa.
they did that, there was like two guys that were non Oral Roberts players that answered correctly when they were D1 was making the round. So it was pretty funny. I can honestly say I knew it was Oklahoma, but I didn't know Tulsa. But my question right off the bat, and what everybody wants to know, you've been there and you're someone who's been a part of a Tennessee team that's been to Omaha twice, like Chris said. And so with Oral Roberts being a team that was just there, what is, the vibes like there and, the team like, is it, hey, we can do this on a regular basis. It's not just a one hit wonder type deal.
That's exactly what the motive is, or the motto, I should say. Everybody hears so much about last year, and it was the same. I kind of compare it to 2020, yeah, that 2023 season, last year's season, or this past year's season from that 2022 team.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, everybody was like, last year, y'all didn't get it done, but y'all were the best, So I've heard all the last year and what are we gonna do this? So I mean, I'm not a stranger to it, of course, but yeah, no, definitely the motto for, I mean, the motto form is we're not just, we got guys, even whether or not we have the money or not. So I mean, the spot is awesome though. Love it.
Absolutely. So give us some info, man. Being that you've been having fall ball and these scrimmages and everything, a lot of us don't get to see much about Oral Roberts. First talk about some guys outside of yourself in that batting lineup that we should be looking for. Obviously, you could probably list off the whole team, but just give us a couple of guys that are key guys in that lineup we should be looking for.
All right, this is the part I was waiting on because I'm trying. I want to get to it. So, first thing I want to say is we have some guys. First of all, I've been a part of one of the best outfields of college baseball. I've been Drew Gilbert. I've been besides Jordan Beck. We have some guys that can fly. Everybody's athletic. Shout out to Elijah Rodriguez. Came from a community college in Texas. One of the fastest, most explosive guys I know. I mean, strong. We've got a catcher from Arizona named Cam. We've got a Wichita State transfer that plays shortstop, named David Herring. Everybody's athletic. There's not one slow guy on the field. We've got a pure hitter named Holden Breeze, and I mean that guy does not miss barrels. Like he just doesn't miss the barrel at all. Yeah, so I mean, one of the best. I want to say one of the best talented teams I've definitely been on, especially from just a whole bunch of transfer guys and guys that have been, I guess built up or, have been training at that school for so long and have turned into, guys when they weren't coming out of high school. So, I mean, we'll definitely shock some people. So I can't wait. We actually play Arkansas, so I can't wait for that game, that midweek as well. But yeah, no, we'll definitely shock some people.
So Chris, that's the key, right? Like because if you're going to win today's baseball, it's about nailing that transfer portal, right? Like, and so Oral Roberts is obviously showing he mentioned 4 or 5 different schools he came from.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was, looking it up and trying to compare what they had last year to this year. And so just to remind people, so last year they went to the College World Series, right? Oral Roberts is 52-14, school record for wins. and they went 23-1 in their conference, and they're in the Summit Conference. I had to look that up, but they won the Oklahoma State Regional. They won the Oregon Super after they lost the first game. Then they went 1-2 in the College World Series. So very good program, established program. And I looked at y'all's roster, Kyle, and I was wondering, and I looked at the box score from the College World Series, and like, these dudes are replacing a ton, but obviously it looked like y'all just kind of reloaded. I saw that the Oral Roberts recruiting class, best in the Summit League, top 50 nationally with 14 transfers, and obviously some Power 5 guys like yourself who have been to the World Series. So you bring that experience. So that's interesting to hear, the fact that y'all just kind of reloaded, because I was curious, coming off a school record of wins, just kind of where the expectations would be. Do y'all talk about expectations in the fall, or y'all just kind of, we're going to roll it out there and just take care of ourselves and see what happens? Or the coaches, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's how it was the first week. I mean, they really didn't know what we'd have. Well, they knew that we were going to be athletic, but I mean, after like the first couple scrimmages and BP sessions, everybody's like, okay, well, first of all, one thing we do know is we're going to hit for sure. We've got some dudes that can swing it 1,000%. And we've got a couple of draft eligible arms as well. Surprising me, I've seen a like 500 spin rate splitter for the past couple of weeks. I won't tell you who, but the dude is insane.
How you gonna hang us up on it? He's like, I'm not gonna say who. Now Chris is gonna spend all night trying to find out.
Which is fine. Let him do his homework. Yeah, no. So I mean, we've got some guys though. So I mean, it's actually dope to see, because I had no idea that Oral Roberts
was like that, right? After you come from facing Dollander, Burns, and Beam every day, every weekend for the past 3 years,
Yeah, that is worse than a head. Now it's like, man, I'm so glad that I actually got to see 3 first-round draft picks, all fall. So it helps you get used to a lot of the crap everybody else throws, because you're not going to say that I haven't seen it before. I've seen Ben Joyce. I've seen 104 come across my face before.
Yeah.
I've seen Dolander's crazy spin rate.
Yeah.
I've seen Burns 102. I've seen Beams fall away from me 5,000 times, and I've swung through it. So I mean,
you're ready for anything.
That's why I like Evan Russell's opinion, right? So Chris and Kyle, he came on here and said, Chase Burns was the guy who, when the night before he had to catch him the next day, he'd lose sleep. He said, Ben could throw 104 and Dollander could do what he do, but he said the movement on Burnsy was just something different. And you got to remember, Evan was new at catching. But that's right where I want to go, Kyle. I want to talk to you about a couple different things I saw yesterday, man. And I want to include Chris in on this. Went out to Hawkins Field on Saturday, watched Vandy and Wake scrimmage, and watched Chase Burns. He was probably the only guy who struggled, and it was crazy, right? So he had 2 punch outs, but then he had 2 walks, and then he gave up a bomb. Like when his stuff was on. Do you think, this is where I'm kind of going with this question? We know he's got the best arsenal maybe of any pitcher in college baseball this year. Do you think he maybe tries to do too much? Because like he had an 0-2 count on that bomb and then just put one over the middle. And, with the arsenal pitches he's got, it's like, why are you trying to blow a fastball down the middle by him?
I'm not a pitching expert, so I don't know 1,000%, but knowing him, probably so. If anything, you'd have to ask Frank. If anything, Frank knows him well, or whoever he's with right now. But the dude is crazy talented. One of the best sliders I've ever seen. I mean, he throws it at 90 or something like that. It's stupid. So I mean, but
he still showed enough good that, I mean, obviously I've seen him over the last couple of years, so I know. But when he made the 2 batters look silly, I mean, I still know what he had. Him giving up the bomb didn't throw me one bit, and I know what he's fixing to do. A part of that Wake Forest pitching staff, Kyle, it's filthy. With Hartle and Massey and them boys, like Wake's going to be right back where they were last year.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, no, Burns is Burns in the fall is a completely different dude from Burns on opening day. It's completely different guys. I think Burns is a gamer. So if you throw him out there, he is going to compete every single time. It doesn't matter where, when. If you say he's playing against when it matters, I promise you he will deliver every time.
You saw in the College World Series, he kind of went nuts out there. You know, he just went
Well, that and the
not nuts,
digital-
nuts in a good way. Like
no. I would say
dealing,
how
yeah.
he saved them in the super regionals against Southern Miss. I mean, he came in there and was absolutely unhittable.
Yeah,
That
he
was
like,
when he did go nuts after he
That was
showed
that
ass.
was fun to be a part of because I was sitting right in that dugout when he was walking in, and that was fun. He just kept yelling the whole time.
yeah, he did.
I think
love
that
it.
speaks to what Chris is talking about, Kyle, about people want to villainize y'all. Literally, he does like the throat slash at you guys. He's all excited. He's not doing anything derogatory towards anybody else. He's just caught in the moment, and then people are like, "Oh, this kid should be suspended." Look at he's threatening people, and it's like, dude, shut up! Like,
I know.
That's what we did. We liked making people mad. When you were mad, we wanted to make you even more mad. Like what?
I mean,
can't do anything like you know.
And then Dolander, we had him on Pros and Joes with Lindsay last week, and Lindsay actually brought up when he showed up Dickerson, and that was funny because Dickerson asked for that, and so it's funny, like y'all get looked at as bad guys, but Dickerson started that, right? He mouthed at Dolander, and he shut him up, so it's funny. But the other thing I wanted to ask you about Vandy, that was my first time there, and Chris, I don't know if you've been there. Obviously the field's nice, the turf, everything else. Chris, literally, and I know Kyle knows, that's why I want to bring this up. Literally, the football stadium and the baseball stadium touch each other, and they're so close, Chris, that if you look in the outfield, their gym is literally butted up against the football stadium. Like they built it on top of it.
I played there like 30 years ago. Well, not 30 years ago.
So
it was worse. Real quick story, very quick story. And Kyle, this is trip you out. So Bianco was our third base coach, and we went there like in '97. This is before their field's very nice now. It was a dump, and Vanderbilt was not a good program back then. They were just not good. When you saw Vandy, you thought sweet. That's how bad they were in the late '90s. Obviously, their field is right up against their football stadium. If the third base runner rounded third base coming home too wide, he would literally hit the dugout. The dugout used to be like chain link fence. It was terrible. It was like a youth park almost. So if Book was rounding third hard and he went too wide, he would almost run into the dugout before he could straighten himself up and go down the third base line. That's how crappy that field it was, and that's how close it was to the football stadium. So Bianco had to like coach third, like in left field. It was terrible, man. It was garbage.
Bro. I don't know, man. I go to all these parks I do, right? And I'm going to Duty Noble, I'm going to Swayze, I'm going to Alex Box, and I go over there to Hawkins, and it's like, what? I mean, it only holds what, like 2,500? Like, I mean, there was hardly any seating, and then like I said, I'm just looking at that, and there was a foul ball that was hit back and I watched it go over into the football stadium. I was like, that's just wild. Like the way this was constructed was not thought out well.
No, that's because they were garbage.
They're getting those renovations though, so it'll look good it'll look good in a bit, about 2030 maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, they got to go. They got to go up. The only way they can go is like up. Yeah, because they got all the street. Yeah, it's they got a lot of interesting parks around the SEC like that.
Even though you're not with Tennessee anymore, you'll like to hear the report I got. Obviously, Chris knows it. I got Wake Forest as the favorite to win it all. Obviously, mentioned the pitchers looking good. I got Nick Kurtz, IOTB guest, shout out as my front runner for the Golden Spikes. He comes up third batter, first inning, and decides to just completely smoke one over the center field wall. Chris, Seaver King might be the low key best hitter that transferred in the portal. He comes out there, he finally gets out. He was 5 for his first 5. Just spraying it all over the yard. Watching him play shortstop, he was good. So. Wake Forest looked great. And then, Kyle, just, talking about Memphis and Ole Miss, you may know a lot of these cats, obviously mentioned Compton hitting the bomb yesterday. Man, seeing Luke. So what?
Talk about my boy Pierre.
Yeah, he looked good. Like Memphis and Ole Miss both, I think, especially Ole Miss finishing last, right? You can only go up. They had a lot of dudes transfer in. The JT Quinn has looked phenomenal all fall. Have seen him. Luke Hill, the transfer from Arizona State. Ethan Groff hit one out. Memphis, they hit 4 or 5 bombs to his point, bring it, asking about his boy. Like but both them, Memphis is going to be competing in the American Athletic Conference, and Ole Miss, I put out my projection today, Chris. I got them third in the West behind Arkansas and LSU. I think they've nailed the transfer portal really, really well. I like what I saw from them better than when I went and scouted Mississippi State the weekend before. So for those listening who are Ole Miss fans, expect a much better year. I think y'all got some talent. For those of y'all that are Memphis fans, especially, man, brand new field, and you ain't seen it, doesn't cost any money to go to the games. There's absolutely no reason to head over to the games over at Memphis. But, Chris, before we get into this game, you got any more questions for Kyle about, Oral Roberts or anything?
No, I'm just I saw y'all's college World Series. Y'all's fall World Series is this weekend. So y'all looking to wrap things up this fall, and how you think you've done so far this fall, or anything you want to kind of put a stamp on this last weekend? That's correct, right? Y'all are wrapping it up this weekend?
Right, yeah. So we have Fall World Series Thursday through Saturday.
Yeah.
By far one of the best falls I've ever had.
That's good, man. That's good. So I'll be pulling for you. Yeah. Jim's converting me to these guests. When I get on the show, I pull for y'all guys, man, because I've been through the struggles, not hitting, pitching. So it's good to hear that, man. It sounds like you're in a great place.
I'm glad you said that, because now you're seeing what I'm taking a lot of hate for. I was wearing, it was so funny. Me and Bianco Drew Bianco taking that picture wearing Ole Miss together, right? 2 LSU Tigers wearing Ole Miss. Obviously he's helping his dad, but I go there and I support the guests. I got shirts for all of them, right? I wore Nick Kurtz to the Wake Forest video game, and people are like, must be nice to just root for whoever you want. It's like, I'm not a fan of the team. I root for these guys. So you get it now, because you'll root for Kyle or Roberts, and you'll root for Peyton Holt with Arkansas. Like, you meet these guys and you're fans. So
be checking box scores, man. Checking box scores, Kyle.
One thing about Oral Roberts, nobody gonna say nothing to you if you got an Oral Roberts shirt on. They ain't gonna be like, oh, screw that. Nah. Everybody loves it. Who doesn't like Oral Roberts?
Who doesn't like Oral? That was the shirt of the College World Series.
Yeah, everybody loves it.
The golden standard. All right. Well, I know Kyle's got to get out of here, so let's play this game. This or That is brought to you by Chinook Seedery. 8 flavors from mild to wild. Get yours. They are the official sponsor of our show, but as well as Team USA Baseball. So if you haven't tried those yet, go check them out. You can find them online. You can find them on our website. But This or That is very simple, Kyle. Ask you a question. You either say one or the other. You can't say neither. Can't say both. You ready?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right. PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation, 1,000%.
Favorite game?
NBA 2K.
All right. I'm going to catch you on them sticks sometime now that you said that. I'm just going to be the Clippers and score every point with Westbrook. I hope you're ready.
Oh. Shout out to Scuff Gaming, by the way. They just sent me a controller.
There you go. Hold it back up there, man. That was too quick, man. We got to do a shout out.
Yeah, who's it? Scuff Gaming?
They let me customize it and everything.
Okay.
It's got the I don't even know what these are. The triggers on the back and stuff. So if I ever do go hardcore gamer, then I'll be ready.
If you ever get on that Chase Dolander Call of Duty level, that man is out there dropping bodies, and then came on the show talking about it. He says he can only play baseball so much. So if anybody wants to catch him on them sticks, come get it. All right. This is an important question, Kyle, when it comes to breakfast. Bacon or sausage?
Y'all gonna hate me. I grew up eating sausage with my pancakes every time. So
I ain't gonna hate you. There isn't a wrong answer. They're both
like
good.
I
agree with that. Either one's good.
I feel like everybody's bacon.
Nah. We have a lot. I'm just glad you said pancakes. The people who come in here and say waffles over pancakes, those people kill me. I don't know what you're talking about. All right. If you were left stranded on an island and your choice was either with your worst enemy or all by yourself, what you taking?
All by myself, 1,000%.
Oh, wow. Nobody talked to you. You're talking to yourself?
He's independent, man.
Man, I like being alone, especially, and then I can really I like cooking things. I like adventure. I like finding things. I like building things. So I feel like it would just all go hand in hand. I could do it by myself, especially my biggest enemy. Like, why? For what?
There you go.
I guess
you got to see him win Survivor one day, Chris.
That's right. You don't care.
All right. Now this is the real question. Got to know. We do this to everybody, so they're your boys. It doesn't matter. Who hit better bombs, Drew Gilbert or Blake Burke?
Man, that's really tough. That's a really tough question. Who hit better bombs?
All right. So you got
let's
the walk
specify.
you got the walk off moment, right, with Gilbert in the bat flip, right? But then you got Blake Burke hitting the 479-foot bomb off a church in Hattiesburg, right? Like, I mean, that's why this question is fun.
That you know what's awesome? That's not even Blake Burke's best home run, in my opinion. His best, I don't know if you remember, but SEC tournament 2022 when we won, he was pitch hitting versus Vanderbilt, and he got a changeup high and away off the plate, and he hit it oppo line drive over the second wall.
Yeah, his power is unreal. And what I'm happy to see about Drew, I know you've probably seen on Twitter, you know, a lot of people thought that, you know, he maybe wouldn't have the success at the next level and he wouldn't bat flip and all that. Wrong. He's still having success and he's still flipping the bat on everybody.
Continue to do it until he gets to the highest level, and he's going to do it then.
He does not care. And what I love is flipping it to a positive thing, doing the bat flips for kids with the cancer. Most people don't realize Drew had childhood cancer. So I love how he spins something that people try to hate on him. But I'll let you off the hook. They both, man, hit absolutely. And then, hell, your boy Jordan Beck, I think he actually led all the minors in home runs this year. So anybody who thought he might fall off, Chris, them dudes at Tennessee, that wasn't a fluke, man. They're doing it at Double-A right now.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, man, you can hit, you know.
All right. Own a massive yacht or a private jet?
I'm not even buying no water. I'll take the jet. I can go wherever I want. You got to go in water with the boat.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of people, like, I take the yacht. A lot of people take the yacht if they're water people. And people who don't care nothing about water, just want to get place to place, take the private jet, obviously. All right. This next one's important. All right. We come into your room right now. I got a duffel bag, $1 million cash in there, or I present a national championship trophy this year. What are you taking?
Man, give me that $1 million.
Thank you.
Oh, whoa, come on. I was not
only
expecting that.
He's
Man,
only
give me
the
the $1
second
million.
guest. Your boy Tommy Hawk is the only one to say that, Chris, from Wake.
I'm surprised. I'll be honest. I was surprised.
Look, Kyle,
Okay.
Kyle.
He didn't even hesitate. He said,
No,
man,
neither did Tommy. Tommy didn't even wait his turn. Look, Brock Wilkin went before Tommy, and he goes, man, I want the national championship. And before I could even ask Tommy, he goes, F that, man, give me the damn bag. And I was like, yeah, and you know, Tommy, he's unfiltered. But yeah, I mean, Kyle.
All right, Kyle.
Well, no, our main host, Daniel, who really wanted to talk to you, he hated that he wasn't able to be here tonight. He actually picked Oral Roberts last year, or Chris, if you remember, when all the teams were set. So before they beat anybody, he had them in Omaha, and he's the only guy that I know. But he has a national championship ring as a coach, and he says all the time, you can give me $50,000 for it right now. And of course, Chris's running joke is he has two, so he'll sell you one in a heartbeat, and he'll still be able to. That's your flex, right? Like I got two. Go ahead and buy one.
Yeah.
I can't have two. That is my ultimate trump card on Twitter. If people come at me, so I at least I have that in my bag for as long as possible.
So let me ask both of you, and we'll wrap this thing up. Paul Skeens came on here a few weeks ago. We asked him the question rephrased for Pros and Joes. He either got to have the championship ring and all the memories that came with it this year, but the caveat was he had to lose all the money he made this year, and he said he would keep the memories and championship. And y'all remember he signed a signing bonus of over $9 million. Kyle, you believe him?
Yeah, absolutely, man. He was already getting paid regardless. So I mean,
Chris, you dropping $9 million for your memories?
If I'm Skeens, I know I'm about to make that up in about 3 years too. So
yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's good.
He's not be hurting for too long.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just money hungry. Drop me the $9 million, and I'll just forget everything that happened. But man, before we let you get out of here, Kyle, you got anything you want to plug or promote? Obviously, you plug the game, and do that one more time for me, and then if you got anything else.
Scuff Gaming, man, my guys over there, appreciate you. Love you guys over there. Let me customize my own controller. This is the first one I've seen from any like athlete or anything. So I don't know if I'm the first guy, but they're awesome. So I appreciate them doing that. And shout out to coaching staff, ORU, Foam. Shout out to Tennessee coaching staff. Love those guys over there. Coach Q, my dog, Vitello, if he's watching, my guy, Coach Elander. Bonnie, if they're watching, love you guys. And yeah, man. Appreciate you guys for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to follow Kyle on IG, it's Kyle Booker. Just add an extra R on there. Or you can go to ORU Baseball, hashtag the Golden Standard. See what they got going on this season. We expect big things. Like Chris said, we'll be following the box score. But if you like hearing Kyle's story, or you just like hearing us average Joes talk X's and O's, please like and share on Facebook, retweet us on Twitter, listen and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Next episode is Wednesday night, where Daniel will be back, and we'll be joined by Mason Moore from Kentucky Baseball. But in the meantime, remember, strong body, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We are out.